It was my dad. My dad rode, and he bought me a bike when I was 4 years old. It was a LEM 50. No, for sure, the mental game is huge, and it's just like, give someone just a little, carrot to dangling in front of them, and they get a couple bites of it. Then you just start to believe. I was laying on a hospital bed and thinking, like, do I really want to do this? Do I want to just keep knocking myself down and trying to rebuild? Picked up a Team Green ride from Dave Gowland, and he's the one that kind of just put me on the right path. It's like a father figure to me, the way we communicate and like the way he would talk to me. I felt like I was talking to my dad. Definitely cried a few times in his office.
Today we have one of the most likeable riders, a crowd favourite at any venue he goes to, Scotsman rider Dean Wilson. Welcome back to Australia. You've been here quite a number of years.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, here I am. Get to do the full Oz Supercross series this year, which is really fun. I love coming to Australia. Like, there's so much I like about Australia. I think the people are really cool. They have a good sense of humour. They're just a good laugh, nice people, good genuine people. Obviously, I like the country, I like the weather, the food, the coffee. There's a lot I like about it, and so to come here, visit new places with my family, race my bike, I can't complain, so I'm enjoying it.
Now let's start where it all began for yourself in Scotland.
Yeah.
Tell us what it was like growing up there and what pushed you into getting into motocross.
Yeah, so growing up in Scotland, it was my dad. My dad rode, and he bought me a bike when I was 4 years old. It was a LEM 50, and that's kind of where it all started. We would ride every weekend, and yeah, it was good. It rained a lot, and I remember like just always kind of riding in the mud, and I was never that great. And then I progressed up to a KX60, and I don't even know, like, top 10, like I was nothing special. We didn't take it seriously, we just rode for fun. But we then from there moved to Canada, to Calgary, Alberta, and in the winters in Canada it would get so cold that we would go to California in the winter just to ride for fun, same thing again. And that was so cool because back in those days, which would have been the early 2000s, you would go to the track like Lake Elsinore and McGrath would show up, and like when I lived in Scotland, those are all the VHSs that I would watch, is all the Crusties, Terra Firmas, Steel Roots, all McGrath stuff. And it was just like, he would show up to the track and he was just like, it was like a superstar, right? Like there was no social media back then. It was just the coolest thing in my eyes. So anyways, we just would go to California, ride for fun, and get out the cold Canadian winters. And I just started to really progress and get a lot better. I started to win quite a lot in Canada, and then I started to really battle up front in America, and then I picked up a Team Green ride from Dave Gowland, and he's the one that kind of just put me on the right path to where I am. He was a little bit of the beginning of it all to get me on the right road to kind of where I am,
It's funny how you can cross paths with those kind of influential people that get you on that direction. It's sort of like it was meant to be.
Right, no, it is. It's crazy, like how at a certain time, in a certain moment, a certain person could change your life, and if you didn't meet that person, what direction would it have went, right? It's almost like a car accident. Like, what if like you went to take a left, but you didn't do it, so you took a right, and then like you got in a crazy car crash? Like, I don't know. It's just like one of those things where, yeah, Dave Gowland was the Team Green guy. He picked me up for 85s in 2006, I want to say, and then he was pretty hard on me, but he just really wanted the best for me. Then by 2009, that was my last amateur year. I was in the A class, and I really wanted to ride for Mitch Payton. I wanted to do this as my career, and I did everything I could to make that happen. I really dominated, and then he and a few other people really got me to Mitch Payton's doorstep. And I had to do a little bit of work as well, obviously, but he was a big person that got me to where I am, same as Bobby Hewitt, Ed Torrance. There's quite a lot of people, Ryan Holiday. Those are like the group that really got me to the pro scene for sure, and of course my family.
Let's talk about the Mitch Payton years, jumping on board with them at the time, probably seen as one of the most elite teams, the Pro Circuit Kawasaki. You really wanted to be there if you were going to have any chance of championships. You had such a fantastic year that year, battling out so many amazing, memorable races.
Yeah, so when I got on Mitch Payton's pro circuit team, like that was like the golden years of pro circuit. They dominated for years and years, and like I was like, that's the team I want to be on. I had other offers for other teams, but it was Mitch Payton's team. I needed to be on there. The bikes were just insane. So I finally got that, made it happen, and it was just like, you know, I just made the most of it. In my rookie year, I was consistently running up front, which was, I think, kind of a surprise, but I was hungry and I was riding well, and the bike was also just something that I'd never ridden, like it was that good, right? So I was consistently up front. I won a few outdoors. I got Rookie of the Year. So I won a few races, and like it was just really, really good first year. Like it set the tone for the next year, which I ended up winning the outdoor championship, second in outdoors, and yeah, I think I was with Mitch for 4 or 5 years. Unfortunately, after the first couple of years, I battled shoulder injuries really bad. So yeah, it was good though. Mitch is like a father figure to me. You know, the way we communicate and like the way he would talk to me, I felt like I was talking to my dad, because my dad was pretty hard, pretty thorough, say the way it is, and that's how Mitch was. Mitch definitely cried a few times in his office because he just told me the way it was, and I liked that though. He told me, and like, you know, after you would talk to him, you would know, like you'd be on the same page, you know. So I learned a lot, and I was very grateful for him and Bones and everyone at the pro circuit team.
I want to talk on the injuries a bit in a moment, but before we get there, that national championship you won, that'd have to be something that sticks with you for the rest of your life.
For sure, winning that outdoor national championship was like, it was a dream come true. It was because it's crazy just to think like that year, like only like 2 years before that, I was watching Filipoto standing on Glen Helen Hill and thinking like, oh man, like I wonder how I'm going to do when I get to this, to the professional side, like when I raced the outdoors, and then thinking 2 years later I was the champion. It was like insane. It was crazy, but it was just a combination of hard work and all my years and years I put in, and like it just happens, you know. So it was a surreal moment for sure, and yeah, it was crazy. It was only my second year pro, so it was a amazing time in my life for sure, but something to be proud of, but not something to always keep going back to or look, you know. It's, you know what they say, trophies collect dust, you know. There's always more to look forward to. So it was cool though. Something I always wanted to achieve, and I did it, so something I'm proud of.
Still touching on that, you mentioned Filipoto then. It seems weird, there's like these little clusters of riders that seem to come through, that, you know, there's always a good bunch of riders. You had quite a lot of talented riders at that time, so that would make it even more special. Filipoto and some more other riders as well. Yeah,
for sure. It was, you know, there's been just some legends on the pro circuit team, and you know, like racing, I had a pretty stacked couple. I mean, a lot of the years were stacked. When my first year, it was Christophe Purcell who was my teammate, and Jake Weimer, Tyler Rattray, world champion, and Josh Hansen for Supercross. So it was a really cool team, and I was just like, every day I was learning, and you know, but the field was stacked. I had Kennard, Barsha, Tomac, Purcell. I don't know, there was a lot of guys. Blake Wharton was really good. So I'm sure I'm forgetting a few guys, but like I used to train with Trey Kennard when I was an amateur, and he was on his last year in the A class, and that was 2007 with this guy Shannon Naide. And it was crazy and surreal to think to me, like I didn't think I'd ever beat him. And then like there was races where I was passing him, and then I was winning races. I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like, I don't know, it just happens though. That's the thing, like I don't think there's really like a big secret to it. Like you put in the time and work, it all just comes together.
Bouncing off the back of that then, is there one race in particular that is just like out of the mind, it just stands out completely for you, and if so, why would that be?
There's definitely a few races that stand out, but one that eats at me, but also I learned a lot, was Freestone 2010. Eli Tomac came into the scene. He didn't race Supercross, but it was both our rookie years, and he won Hangtown first year. He was 17, and I just remember he got all this hype, right? Like I was like, oh man, like whatever, all good. But I was like fired up. So the next round was freestone, and it was really, really, really hot. In the first moto, I got third. Second moto, I was leading, and I was gone. And I had the overall, everything. Second outdoor race as a rookie, I was going to win the overall. And then I had such a big lead that, like, the last lap, I never seen anyone behind me. My mechanic wrote 5.6 second lead. And I was like, I didn't see the point. I was like, I haven't seen anyone this whole race. Do I have a 56 second lead? And then I kind of start to see my teammate, but I haven't seen him the whole race. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I was a little bit hot, but long story short, I let him by on the last lap, trying to be a good teammate. Like, oh, go get some. Oh God, it was so dumb. It eats at me. So anyways, I figured out what I just done, and I'm so upset going through the rollers before the finish. My body kind of just collapses because I gave away the win, not knowing I still had the overall win. I still had it. And Brock Tickle passes me up the finish line face, and I went from first to third. And that would have been my first ever. And a couple weeks later, I won my first overall at Budds Creek. But that one just eats at me. But at the same time, it showed me I can win. Like, and after that, I was like, all right, I can win now. Like, I know I can win. So that was the good thing. The bad thing was 50 grand short and lost the win.
It so often happens that it just takes that one win or good result for people to really take that next step.
Yes.
and truly believe in themselves.
Yes.
I asked someone else the same question before. The mental game at that level must be so intense, believing in yourself and truly, not just saying, yeah, I can win, but truly believing in yourself, because that seems like that's the difference between being able to win and not actually getting it.
No, for sure. The mental game is huge. And it's just like what I talked about, that race. Give someone just a little, carrot to dangling in front of them, and they get a couple bites of it. Then you just start to believe, like it's not more trying to convince yourself anymore, because a lot of time you're just trying to convince yourself, like, I am a front runner, but you just need that little bit of belief, like you can actually do it. And then once I got that, it didn't even run through my mind whether I could do it or not. I know I could do it. And that's just a feeling that you can't get. It's something you got to earn and figure out how to get, So the mental game is huge. And I've went to the start line a lot of my career, and kind of almost knew in the back of my head that my start wasn't going to be very good. But then I went to the start line and knew I was going to get the whole shot, or I knew I was going to get a good start because I just had that belief, right? So I've been on both sides of the spectrum, and that's kind of like confidence and your belief, and there's a lot that goes into it for sure. Moving
into the 450s, from what we see, it appears that it's a pretty massive jump to go from 250 and 450, that field. I mean, the 250s is always stacked, but there always seems to be a few more extra guys in the 450s that are out there. How hard is it to make that jump up and be competitive?
Yeah, the 450 class it's so hard. It's so hard because, 250 outdoors, they have all the guys, but they have a west and an east. 450, it's all the top 250 guys they're pretty much all champions. If you look at the top 15, pretty much everyone has won a championship. So everyone is just so good. The level is so high, and it's so hard. There's so many times you got your hand on your head just trying to figure it out, and it's like you'll put down a qualifying lap that felt good, and then you're like 10th or 11th, and you're like, dude, where are these guys making up time? Like, the level is that high, when you have guys like Jet, Sexton, Kenny's going real good, like Tomac, like they're just at such a high level right now that it's just by the small margins. But yeah, it's very, very, you gotta be mentally tough and mentally know how to take those beatings, because dude, you're always getting a beating. I am, at least. So it's very tough. It's just the level is very high.
I was going to ask that. Can that be demoralizing when you see those kinds of things all the time?
Yeah, it can be demoralizing, but same thing. Sometimes you can go to a Supercross round and turn it all around as well, and really turn your season around. It's just like I said, it's that confidence thing. Get you a good start, and then you get a good start, and then you're behind Sexton or Kenny or someone else, and you're hanging with them, and you're like, oh, I'm not trying that hard, and I'm hanging with them, and then you kind of start to, you're like, okay, I can do this. And then you start you hit the whoops good, then you're right on the rear wheel again. And then it's just it just starts to all click. So you can turn it around. That's one thing I wish my starts were like really, really good, because whether I went back or whatever, it just makes your life that much easier. And the class is too stacked not to get the start.
You touched briefly on shoulder injuries and stuff through your career. You've had quite an extensive list of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever weighed on your mind at all through your career and the direction that it would be going?
Yeah, the injuries were tough at quite a lot of my career. The injuries were tough. They're always tough, but 250 years, I had 2 good years at the beginning, and then I had almost a shoulder reconstruction each year for like 3 or 4 years. So that wasn't good, but I always just was like still good on the bike. I was battling for championships. I was still good. Stuff just kept happening. So then I got picked up by factory KTM, Roger and Ian, and I blew my knee out 2 rounds in. So then I was pretty much out, and then rebuild and did the last few nationals. So then I had a good off season, go into the next year, blew my knee out, almost the exact same date. Same thing again, out. And that was factory KTM, that was it done. And that was some of the toughest 2 years of my career. It was like, I didn't know what to do. And then I just knew I still had it in me and the potential to do well. So that next year, I started out as a privateer. Within 3 rounds, got picked up from factory Husqvarna. And I got on the podium twice that year from being a privateer at the beginning, which was so rewarding, because I had to really, really, like when my back was against the wall, I really had to dig deep to get back to where I needed to be and be a factory rider again and be back on the podium again. So it was really rewarding that year, 2017. And pretty much from then on, I was on factory Husqvarna. They didn't rehire me once because Zach Osborne was coming back up. And then I went into A1 2019 as a privateer, but kind of same Husqvarna setup, Rockstar, and I almost won the race. And then they were calling again. So then a few races later, I'm back on factory Husky. So those guys were always really, really good to me though. I have a good relationship with them, and yeah, that really brought the fun back a bit to my racing again. I enjoyed that.
Was there ever a point with the injuries and moving to privateer, was there ever any thoughts of I've had enough?
No, for sure. There was times I was laying on a hospital bed and thinking, like, do I really want to do this? Do I want to just keep knocking myself down and trying to rebuild and get back to where you are? And it was tough. Like, I definitely considered it. And the thing that was also really, really hurting me was my anxiety was getting really, really bad. And that was when I first didn't really know what this was that I was dealing with. I didn't know what these feelings were. And I was just like fighting it without not knowing anything. And I was just completely miserable and depressed. And I felt terrible. And it was my anxiety was just through the roof, like, because I felt the pressure from like the first 2 years at KTM. I really felt pressure, like, to perform and do well, but then I've torn my knee, and then I tore my knee again, and it was just like I just felt like a big failure. So it was tough, but like it's just like all the stuff that's happened to me is just like, it's just been life tests. Like, it's just like, I don't know, it's all these things are like meant to be in a way, because it's just like molded me and formed me to the person I am today. And like, I'm so appreciative to do things now. I'm appreciative to be here and race in Australia. I'm racing my bike in a sick country, still getting paid decent, with my family. Like, all these things that happened before are just like life tests, and you can either quit or you can keep going and figure it out. And I've always just figured it out, and it's been really, really hard at times, but I've had a really good support group and just good supportive people around me, and that's what kept me going for sure.
I wanted to go next to your social media following. What you put across to the fans and what you give back to the fans is something else. Is that something that you've driven? I know sponsors love it. I don't see it being a sponsor requirement. I feel from the way we've seen you deliver it, it's something that you really have a passion for.
Yeah, so the social media side of things, like, so I feel like me, I'm a pretty good like top 10 rider. Like when I was Rockstar Husky, I was like, okay, I'm your top 10 guy. That's my job, right? Jason's job is to win. I want to be top 5, top 10. That's my job. But let me like add another value and like I want to have a good following where like I still have something else to offer other than just racing, right? So like I've always been, I don't know, pretty outspoken. I'm just kind of myself, you know, and I'm not shy, and I don't know, I just kind of been lucky to have some really good fans and following, and I think that's just good to have, though. It's another value for sponsors. So that's, you know, Rockstar Energy have been really, really good to me in my career, and been with them for 7 years, and that's, you know, a lot of the reason is from my following, and, you know, sure, writing and results is a big part too, but yeah, I think it's really important, and I just like to have fun with it.
Where did Grandpa Earl come from?
So Grandpa Earl was, I was injured that year. I got 2 knee rebuilds. I mean, 2 knee reconstructions, each knee. So I was pretty laid up all summer, 2018. And so I had a lot of TV time. And then I was watching this, it was called Uncle Drew, and it was Kyrie Irving. And he'd go to the local basketball courts and just mop these dudes up, and he's the grandpa, and they're like, come on, Uncle Drew. And I was, oh, that is so funny. And then obviously Bad Grandpa and stuff like that, right? So I was like, oh man, imagine doing that on a dirt bike. And I seen a couple BMX ones and stuff like that. So my friend Chris called him. I was like, oh, let's do this, it'd be funny. No expectations, nothing, no plan. But my friend Chris, he works in the Hollywood, his stunt industry, and his friend does the makeup and all that. So he got his buddy to come, and we did the makeup, and we're like, and then I was like, well, if I'm gonna be a grandpa, like, I need like a little bit of, you know, so like a little bit of credibility. So like I had this kid come with me that was my grandson, and that's what, you know, we were just like, let's freestyle it, see how it goes. So we went to Paula, and we just kind of freestyled it all day, like not really a set plan. And we did that all day, and then good thing there was like a lot of good people there, like Axel was there, Deegan, Colton Nichols. There's a few good guys there. And anyway, so we did that. He chops it, edits it up, and then it just became quite funny, right? And we're like, all right, let's post it. You know, no expectations. Like, it's just for a good laugh. That's all it was for. And then, dude, this thing just blew up. Like, just went completely viral. Like, Barstool Sports and like Unilad and all these like big Facebook pages were posting it, and yeah, it was crazy. Now it's at 25 million views, and it was like, made good money off it on YouTube, and like, I don't know, it's just like something funny. So yeah, we're thinking about doing another one. We'll see. It's hard to top the first one. So, but I don't know, everyone wants a second one, so we'll see.
Oh, that's cool to see. Getting the chance to travel the world with family as well, how important is that for you?
Oh, I love getting to travel the world with my family. With my son, I think it's just something that's cool that I can look back on when I'm older, and like we can look through pictures and like, oh look, you know, you were here, we were there. It's cool. I really enjoy it. It kind of takes like the, I just feel more relaxed with my family here, and you know, having my son who's a year now, which is crazy how fast that's went. Like, it's just like, I don't know, after racing, I just love hanging out with them, and it's like, it's cool. I really enjoy it. It's, obviously it's new for me being a dad, and it's very exhausting. I know my wife's probably gonna see this, like, oh, you're exhausting. She does a really good job at looking after him, but with training and riding, and then like go home, and then you just want to flop on the couch and like close your eyes for a minute, and then he's just pulling at you. But it's fun. I love it. Getting to travel with them is a bonus, and we have a lot of fun while doing it and try to enjoy going to all these places.
The Australian scene in particular, you've been here for a few years, we've worked that out. How do you see the racing and the way the series comes across? You've been all over the world. How does it compare?
I mean, I think the Supercross series is great, you know. I just want to help, like, I want to help a little bit and like help bring the fans in, and you know, like help build it up a little bit, just because like I think it's a great series. I think we get to go to cool venues, cool stadiums, and why not? It's good for the sport. The more racing, the better. So, no, I'll definitely say it's up there. You know, obviously US Supercross is at the highest, but it's up there with the rest of them. And I think it's a really good show that they put on, and I enjoy it.
Last round, we're at Newcastle, obviously round 2, last round, a victory there. Must have been pretty cool. At least another one up your sleeve. Yeah,
to win Adelaide was really cool. Haven't won in a minute, so we'll take it. And then got the red plate, which is really cool. And yeah, like I said, I'm just in a good little headspace right now. I'm having fun. I feel like I'm riding pretty well right now. So yeah, it's good. Now we're here in Newcastle for round 2, and the stadium, the city, the track, everything looks sweet. So I'm like really excited for it.
Final question, where to from here for yourself? Will you still see you around for a few more years yet?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? We'll see. We'll see how things go. I like how things are going right now, but we'll see. I don't know how much longer I can go in the States. Like I said before, that the level is just so high, and I have such a bad knee that I can't be at that level, and I know that. And I feel like I could be still hovering around top 10, like, you know, in the 10th mark, which I think is still good for me. Sure, I'd love to crack top 5s and stuff like that, but like, it's just, it's very tough. And with my knee, I've had 5 torn ACLs on the one knee, so I can't turn left really good. Like, I don't put my foot out, I don't lean my bike, because it's just like in my brain now, like it's just not worth doing anything dumb. So we'll see where my future holds, but I'm testing out the Oz thing, the Worlds thing, and see what else we can get going. But you know what, riding makes me really happy, and I like waking up with like a drive and a purpose and like a goal. And like, I don't know how well, I know like eventually it's all going to stop. So, but as of right now, like I really enjoy training and riding, and like I just feel like I'm on a good little path right now. So maybe we'll keep this going. We'll see how it goes.
Well, Dean, thank you so much for taking the time, having a sit down with us today. I hope you enjoy your time here in Australia, in Newcastle in particular, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thanks for having me.